Friday, 75 and 43 under partly cloudy skies. 76 and 42 with sunshine on Saturday. And again, same thing for Sunday. Even looking ahead all the way to next Monday, looking at 75 for a high temp. Are you with me this morning, Michelle? Because things were kind of strange. I couldn't hear the theme music.
Yeah, I got it all figured out. We were one click away.
You know what I actually did is I logged on to the tower feed to see if I could see the meters moving when I talked. So
yeah, I can see. I could hear you barely, and I'm like, what is going on? And then I noticed that her mic was still muted, so
there we go. That's why we couldn't hear anything. It was our third attempt this morning to go live, but we did it, and a little confusing when we're doing stuff from Maine all the way to Chihuahua or vice versa. And we had some echo yesterday. We were trying to work out the bugs, so sorry for being late is what we'll say. But thank you, Michelle, for all your help with studio. All right, and in the studio with Michelle this morning, it's been so long. Good morning to Carolyn Jones. Good morning, Carolyn.
Good morning, Scott. Nice to see you again.
All right, I don't hear her. Good morning, Carolyn.
Good morning, Scott.
All right, you're going to have to get right up on that microphone, all right?
Hey, I'm going to bring it to me.
All right. It has been a long time, and I believe we were conversing a little bit before the show got started. Last time we had you on the show, you were doing it via Zoom, were you not?
I tried.
I tried.
I would say
we had some
that.
technical difficulties then too, right?
Yes. Yes.
All right. You have a big weekend in store for you. It is Hands Across Nations annual auction. This is a big deal. This is your fundraiser for your efforts in Uganda. And I know we've done this probably, 10 times?
Probably. Yeah. A lot of
But
times.
I think we should always have that a refresher for people that might not be familiar with Hands Across Nations and what you do. And this was kind of spearheaded by you and your husband, Keith. And I'm guessing Keith is in Uganda?
No, he's actually at home.
And you did not bring him into the studio. Oh.
He's a shy
we
person.
have to have a talk with that boy. All right. So give us a little refresher on what Hands Across Nations does.
Well, Hands Across Nations began in 2001 as a small trip with 14 of us from Chihuahua to Uganda on a medical mission that was during a war there, and we were supposed to go to Mexico, but an agency there asked us to come, so we did, with Dr. Johnstone and her whole family, and a number of other people that were medical people went there. And it was supposed to be just 1 month, one time, and I just had to keep going back. So Dr. Johnstone and I went back with another team the next year, and the following year, no one else wanted to go but me, so I went alone and made very deep relationships, friendships there. And ever since, I've been going, and different people have come with us. Keith started coming about 10 years ago, and we now have a home and an office there, and we stay most of the year. But this year, I'm home to do something. I have to get a new hip so I can go on that plane. All that time.
Ouch.
Yeah. So I'm waiting to do that, and that's why he's home as well. I need a nursemaid. So it started with the medical, but it became other things. There were sewing schools that we started, water protection projects, and these were all supported by people from this area. We're not wealthy people, and neither are most of the people here in Chihuahua, but one by one, people helped us and donated to our new 501c3. We now are a charity. We have been for quite some time. So every year we do a little fundraiser, and things started changing in 2007. The war was over, and many people had been in camps for about 20 years, and many of them never went to school and couldn't read, so there was a lot of crime happening, a lot of people in prison, And we thought, oh my goodness, we need to help do something about that. And we found LEI, Literacy and Evangelism International in the U.S., taught us how to make primers, how to teach them in their native tongue, and we just jumped in. I'm a physical therapist. My husband was a logger and a bowl maker, and we just asked God to help us to find the right ways to do it. It started in 2013. We took the classes. 2014, we started writing primers and started training people to be teachers in the villages. And in 2015, we started in prisons, which was a little bit scary at first because there were 800 people, 800 men in the prison right in our town. And walking in there as a woman and without guards or anything, it was a little bit nerve-wracking. But we found that they were very, very up for learning this. They wanted to. They were very, very much on board. So it has been going ever since, and we have thousands and thousands of not only teachers, but people who have learned in the villages and in the prisons. But COVID gave us a real knock.
Yeah, I bet.
We were not able to go for 2 years, and we were not here able to do even a fundraiser for 2 years. We did it online. So this is our first time to be able to be back with people and tell them what we've been doing for the last 3 years.
No, that's great.
Yeah, that's kind of the summary.
All right. Now, you've told me in the past, too, let's kind of paint the picture for people about, especially going into the prisons. And I want to say, Carolyn, you're one of the bravest people I know, not only going to a foreign country and entering the prison system like that and the work that you do. Because you've told me some scary stories in the past about some of the people that are in those prisons shouldn't be there, that some of the, I guess you would call the law, is corrupt, and it's a very tough situations in those prisons, yes?
Very much so.
Right.
The officer in charge of the one in Lyra told us that she estimated that at least 70% of the people that were in there at the time were innocent. They were just
my gosh.
put in there by people bribing policemen to put them in. And there's one group that was... I'm trying to think of how many there were. I think there were 6 of them that were accused of killing a policeman's wife, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it, and they were convicted and got at least 40-year sentences.
Oh, that's
so we just
sad.
couldn't leave that. We could not leave that, and Keith stayed for 2 more years without ever coming home to try to help. We got a lawyer who would help us to do the appeal, and 2 years later, he went up and did the appeal while they were still in prison. They'd been in prison, I think, 8 or 9 years.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And they won the appeal. Unfortunately, the lawyer was going to Kampala on a bus to see his father, who was dying, and he was in a very bad bus accident and was killed before he found out that he had won the case. But those people have been so thankful for, especially Keith, in doing that, and Hands Across Nations for supporting that. And Florence is now, she's a nurse, she's a midwife, she has a little pharmacy now, and she takes care of 5 old women who can't take care of themselves, and she wants to start delivering babies again.
Oh, wow.
And we've
Amazing.
sponsored 2 other women in school for midwifery, and I would like to get them together and have a system where they can deliver babies safely, because many young women die in childbirth.
Yeah.
Many.
So that's interesting. I mean, how do you address medical issues down there? What's the comparison? I mean, all we have to our basis of knowledge is what we've experienced here in America. I've never been to a foreign country, but and I'm not sure exactly what the geography is like where you go to, but what's it like handling medical emergencies and stuff like that there?
Well, fortunately, early on, I met Dr. Opio, who is a surgeon and worked in his hospital as a physical therapist. So that was back in 2003. So I've known him for almost 20 years now. And he's just a lovely Christian man who is willing to help the least of these. And during the war, he did it a lot. He was the only surgeon to stay there in the whole area, which was at that time a town of 100,000. It's now more than double that.
Wow.
And we have a lot of people coming to our door, our gate. We have a compound because it's very dangerous there. We have 2 armed guards at night and a guard dog. But we've never had any trouble yet.
Even while you were gone for 2 years, no problems with the home?
Oh, no. We have someone staying there, and the guards are there. And we were not gone. Both of us were not gone. Keith was there. I was home back and forth. I'd stay there maybe 8 months, and I would come home and fundraise. That's my job when I come home. So we're there most of the time. But this year, I'm staying home longer for this surgery. So Dr. Opio is our go-to man. We have people, we call him Lazarus because in the Bible, Lazarus laid outside a rich man's gate, and the man didn't take care of him. And in the end, the other man did not go to heaven, but Lazarus did. And we just see these people as God's test for us and for many people. They come and they may have, I have lots of stories this year. We had somebody say, we'd like to hear the human interest stories. So we're doing that, where we have many people that come to our gate in terrible shape. They may have a huge stomach and have something going on there, and we'll carry them. The last one was, or one of the last ones in the last year was Deacons, who had been on his motorcycle going to work as a tailor, and someone hit him with a car. He went down. They left him for dead. Half of his face was just torn up, lost all of his front teeth, half of his nose, and he came and he said that the hospital, which is supposed to be free, but it's not, the local hospital, they're supposed to be able to go there and get free care. They just stitched him up, and that was it. But he was just still torn up. And he said they need to go to Kampala. And that's 8 hours away, and we couldn't afford it, and he couldn't afford it. So I took him to Dr. Opio, who's a thoracic surgeon. But he stitched up his face, and he's been working on that and giving him a new nose. And he's so thankful. But what happens is these people, when they're thankful for that, they're thankful to God, we say, okay, now it's your turn to pass it on to someone else. And when they see someone that needs help, they help them if they can. If they can't, they bring them to us. And so there is medical care there, but it's very poor. Like I said, many women die in childbirth. Deacons, the one who had his face half gone, has a wife, and they had 6 children. And they were all girls.
Oh.
And boys are really important over there. And she was pregnant again, and he said she's going to be going to the hospital. Well, she went there in the night, and she had what they call, I think it's called placenta previa, where the placenta comes down first, and the baby couldn't get born, and they wouldn't do a surgery, a C-section on her, because she didn't have any money. So they called us in the middle of the night. We said, yes, we'll pay for that. And they delivered a baby boy.
Oh.
And they were both fine.
Oh, gosh, that's scary.
So they have very up and down medical care. It's very precarious. So we just try to help them. And
I want to kind of paint the picture of Uganda for people, and I'm looking at your program for this weekend and some of the things that'll be talked about. But I wanted to share this on the radio, and I hope you don't mind because I found it quite startling. Uganda has a population of 46 million people in 93,000 square miles. So that's slightly smaller than the state of Oregon. And that is, so take one, about, and I'm just guesstimating here, about a sixth of the population of America, and stuff that into just the state of Oregon.
Wow.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Also, it says one of the poorest nations in the world, average daily wage of $1.25. How do people survive on that?
Well, they don't in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
They don't.
That's the problem.
Yeah. One of the things is that they do have a pretty good, it's warm there all
Right.
year round, so very few people die of frostbite. In fact, none.
How do they have a pretty healthy agriculture?
They have agriculture. I wouldn't say it's healthy. They have a lot of good ground, but they don't have very good farming methods. We've tried farming God's way, and they're kind of stuck in their old ways. Most of them just have a hoe and a machete, and they don't have farming equipment. But when people, there are a lot of organizations that try to get them started on tractors and that kind of thing, but they don't know how to run them. They run them into the ground. I've seen using a tractor to push over trees.
Oh, wow.
And very soon they're in.
They don't know tractor anymore.
Yes,
Right.
it's left by the side of the road.
Right.
So they just don't have that.
Knowledge.
Yes, and their culture is one that they're just used to, not working too long, and
Sounds
So-
like maybe they could benefit from some, what is it, the permaculture farming?
I'm not
It's-
sure what that is.
So it's
you'll have
like
to-
where you do the plants that grow together and nourish each other as they grow, like the sister plants that the Native Americans used to plant the green beans next to the corn so that the corn would provide the structure for the green beans to grow up. Things like that.
I'm sure they could. And there are programs there that do that, but it just seems like they keep stuck. And a lot of us do that here. We know what we know, and we kind of stay where we are until we really get it. And it's slowly but surely there. We've translated a whole book of Farming God's Way, which is all the kind of thing that you've just talked about using dung and all the things that are around. They have cows, so they have that, and they laugh at us when we put that on the garden.
Really?
Yes, we did a side by side. We did a side by side. I should say, not we. Keith really set up this thing, and they had the same size garden in our compound, and Keith did one with Farming God's Way, where you just use the dung in a very small area right around where the seeds are going to go. And you have a string with Coke bottle caps, and you plant them in the same place all the time, but you always put the fertilizer there, not all over the garden like we have it, because we have lots of fertilizer.
Right.
And we did one side by side, and the corn that was done Farming God's Way was 12 feet taller. And the other was just kind of scraggly and down like they do it, and amazing corn. And they didn't buy it.
Really?
Didn't
They won't grasp
buy it.
onto it, huh?
They were. It was too hard to do the strings and the Coke bottle caps and doing all that kind of stuff. They just kind of throw the seeds out there, and they say we have such fertile soil that we just throw the seeds in the ground and it grows. Aren't we fortunate? God is so good. But they could be better.
Wow.
They could be better.
There's a lot to be said for discipline.
There is. There is self-discipline, and there's an awful lot of theft there. So when somebody grows a really good garden, people are in it at night stealing.
Yeah.
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 All right. So they've had the same dictator in Uganda since 1986.
He would call himself a president. I mean, he does. He's been elected, but sometimes, especially in the last few years, it's been very corrupt. Yeah, he's been there since, how many years is it? I mean,
Getting close to 40.
yes, and he's getting
36
old.
years.
And,
Wow.
yeah, and his son just this week said, "We will take over Nairobi, Kenya, their next door neighbor, in 2 weeks."
Oh, great.
And how do you say? I'm looking at, okay, how is this going to come across to the rest of the world that he has said this?
Right.
Whether or not he'll do it, it's their next door neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
They have a new president. Kenyatta didn't run again, so they have a new president, and he's rattling sabers over there.
Oh, no.
Mm.
So have you, as Americans trying to spread goodwill in Uganda, have you had clashes and problems with the government yourself, you and Keith?
They just make it very difficult for NGOs to go over there, non-government organizations to go over there. You have to really, really work to get your paperwork done.
Mm-hmm.
It's a real problem. But I want to say that this is all the bad side, but we have lots of grand progress that's been made, especially in literacy and the people that have learned how to read and have read the Bible and have changed their culture where we are. It's quite amazing. So I don't want to be all negative.
No, but I think it definitely outlines like the need, the why you go there.
Yeah, and the people are changing. They have good hearts. There are many people that have good hearts, and when they learn the things that we're trying to teach them and they help each other, it's amazing. Our little area is having a lot of change in how the people work with each other.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're taking care of each other a lot better. So I kind of want to get into that rather than all the negative because
I was just trying to kind of paint a picture of what it's like there and why you were there trying to make a difference. Because a lot of the stats that you've shared with us over the years and what I see on the sheet currently, it's scary, and it's an awesome project that you've started at it. 21 years now, Carolyn? Wow.
She's a brave lady.
Yes. All right. So go ahead.
I don't know about brave. It's just I like challenges. I really do. This is a big one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the fun stuff and how you fund this project and what's happening Saturday night. So you do an annual auction. You said you haven't been able to do it for a couple years. You got your husband with you, which is going to be fun because I think there's been times in the past where Keith couldn't be here because he was busy in Uganda, right?
Well, he's been here for every fundraiser.
Okay.
He comes home, but we have a great team here in town. It's amazing what they do to set this up. And then he would usually come in a week or two ahead of time and be there for the fundraiser. Yeah.
So kind of describe what happens at the fundraiser, and then we'll let people know how they can get involved.
Well, people buy tickets, and they're at Acres and Valley Drug, and you can get them online at eventbrite.com. And there are a number of people. Debbie Barbie has tickets, and I have tickets. So we're coming down the home stretch, so Acres and Valley are probably the best places to go to get tickets. As they come in on the evening at 4:30, the doors open. We have 22 tables of people that should be there.
Woohoo!
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal, and we usually fill. Sometimes we kind of overfill, but it's going to be, I'm hoping, quite full this time. We have a team that does the dinner. We have volunteers. Every single person, this is just amazing, every single person except our sound person, which we have to get a professional to do the sound and the videos. And the rest of us are all volunteers making a roast beef dinner this year and mashed potatoes, just a real hometown meal with desserts that are going to be luscious, lots of different types. And we're very caring about not having things that will be hard for everybody. People with special needs, we've tried to accommodate them. We let them look at all the silent auctions. We have about 45 different silent auction things. We
Wow.
decided not to do a live auction this time because that seemed to take a lot of time, and people really wanted to see what is going on there. What are we
Right.
sponsoring? So we took lots of video this year, and we have 4 videos in a PowerPoint of different people and those things so that they can really see who
Yeah.
it is
Yeah.
that's benefiting from this. We so people buy the tickets, and they're only $18, which is great for a meal when you look at what you do when you have to go out to
Right.
dinner these days. $10 for children above 2, and under 2 are free. So from there, we
All right.
have presentations on the videos, and that's about it. I'm trying to think what else we do, but we have little prizes and that kind of thing to make it fun, and that's what it is. We have the people in Uganda telling you what you're supporting. The people there, the tickets cover some of our funds and the auction, but really what we need is people sponsoring us all year, because we spend our budget is right around $70,000 to $80,000 a year, and that's
That's
not
a lot.
easy. Yeah, we pay, everybody that goes pays their own way. We pay our own way, and so it all goes to the projects and the people.
Well, it's amazing. You say a budget of 70 or 80,000 a year, and some people, oh, that's a lot of money. But you have a great need over there. There's a lot of people that you help with that.
Yes, and the cost of getting us set up and doing all the procedures that we have to do for the government is very expensive as well. And their gas is more expensive than ours here.
No way.
Yes, it is. So most people are on foot or on motorcycle.
Right.
Cars are not. Our cars are from the 1990s, and all of them were broken down at one time. We had 3 that we kept buying a new one, or a new old one, and they've now all been fixed.
Good.
Wow.
So we're back in business again doing that.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now, you were telling me about, was it during COVID when you had the supply chain issues with the groceries?
Oh, we couldn't even go buy our own groceries.
Yeah,
in
because
town.
of your cars.
Yes. So we have a woman named Lucy, who we've known for 20 years, and she's been helping us. We started with her washing our laundry a long time ago, and found she only had a 3rd grade education, but she's very bright. She learned how to read in Long Oaf through our program, and she speaks English quite nicely. She's a workhorse. She has 2 children, and then she adopted her niece whose mother died of AIDS, which is a huge issue over there. Many people die of AIDS. And she's been our office manager, our cook, everything else. But then we expanded from her and had others that helped us. They learned how to do the training and all that. But as far as food, she would have to go on a motorcycle, and she would go to town. She would order all the food that we needed, and then we had a couple of motorcycle guys that were able to they could carry things, but they couldn't carry people for 2 years. If they carried people, they got thrown in prison.
Oh, my goodness.
Truly. Yes. So we would
Wow.
have to send our list, and they would bring the food back. So we had to find some real trustworthy people. And then we found that people were starting to come to our gate, and we started to give them food. We had a $10,000 donation from someone here in the U.S. and said, I want you to do food with this.
Nice.
So we fed thousands of people. They were outside our gate. We have pictures of them that we'll show you at the fundraiser. It was absolutely incredible. We just started getting a little bit nervous about it because the government came and said, you cannot do this in front of your house. You have to get your food and put it through our storeroom, and we tell you who to feed. And we said, well, we're done then. We're not doing that. We know where that's going to go.
Right.
And they said, we'll let you do it, but you have to use our truck, and you have to use our people, the Red Cross. We had 6 people, and use our driver, and you have to pay for the gas. We said, okay, we'll do that. Well, we didn't have a car because all 3 of ours were broken. So they provided everything we needed to go out to the villages. And they said, you also have to list every person so we make sure they're poor. Everybody's poor out there. But we had all of the lists of our classes all over the villages outside and the teachers. So we called the teachers and said, we need you to get your people together, put all the names down, and we'll be out there. This is the time. So all of the classes of our literacy students were fed during that time. It was about a 3-month time where they couldn't grow it themselves, and they needed it. So we provided it, and it was just an absolutely big answer to prayer for us. And so every time we've had a big issue, God has provided for us. It's taught us how to live for Him. When He brings up something we need to do, we say, okay, you have to provide the way because we have no idea how to do this. And I think people think, oh, they're different. They're going over there. No, we're not. We don't know what we're doing half the time, but we pray and we ask Him to help us to do it, and He provides.
It's amazing what you do. It's really,
I love that
amazing.
story about the food. It sounds like the government was trying to steal it for themselves,
They were.
and it worked out, right?
And in fact, at the end, they said, well, we need 25. We have 25 people here, and we're starving too. And they're all in suits, and you know they're not. And we need you to provide us 25 packets of how we did it for our people in the government. So we did it. We did it, and they were happy, and it was okay. We got to do it for the ones that really needed it. Yeah.
We're really griping here in America about this crazy inflation, but I imagine it hits a place like that even worse, huh?
They don't even know what inflation is, but they know that the prices are going up. And yeah, although the people that are growing food themselves, the prices have remained the same, but their money is less valuable. And other things are going up, like things to build your home and that kind of thing. But the actual food, so the people selling those things aren't making much money. They still aren't. I'm sorry, I have to excuse myself, and I get crying on some of these things, and it makes my nose run.
All right. Well, I want to do a shout out for one of your cheerleaders, because when you're gone or unavailable, she always brings it up, and sometimes she even posts during our show when we were talking about stuff. Even last month on the community calendar, talking about our events are hopping up in Chihuahua. Debbie Barbie always hops on Facebook and says, "Don't forget about Hands Across Nations. It's coming up on," you know, and waves your flag for you. And she's actually went to Uganda with you once, didn't she?
Yes, and she went for the longest time that anybody has ever gone, 6 months. And she was really a trooper.
Yeah.
She has been a trooper for many years for us. And I'm sorry I left her out, her name out so far.
Well, you mentioned it once, so you mentioned her. So
she is really, really an amazing woman. I'm very grateful for her. She has a heart for the Uganda people. She knows them. She knows Lucy, and she knows she's in touch with them even more than I am sometimes. She'll have to remind me, you need to talk to Lucy about blah, blah, blah. and I'll go do
Well,
it.
she's a great cheerleader for
She
you,
is.
so we'll give her a round of applause.
Yes.
All right. So, just kind of bringing us full circle, the event is this Saturday. I don't think we mentioned it is at the Chihuahua Civic Center, correct?
That is right. That
All
is
right.
right.
Tickets available at Acres, United Drug, or through eventbrite.com. And let's see, you've got doors open at 4:30. You've got dinner, roast beef, mashed potatoes, squash side dish, green salad, and bread, variety of desserts, and then video presentations, what has happened in the last 3 COVID years in the Lango tribe of North Uganda, East Africa, and through Hands Across Nation with the funds donated by supporters in Stevens County and others. Are you, that just kind of prompts a curiosity question, are you able to through your work, bring in, it sounded like in a couple of your comments, people outside of our area even donating for this cause?
Very much so. I want to mention someone also who is going to be there who we're really grateful for, and that's Brad Schaefer.
Mm.
He is going to be our MC, and he's very, very serious about it, but he is a very funny man. And
I was going to say that.
Yeah,
What a
he's
great entertainer you got.
Yeah, he is, and he is really practicing for this. So, I just can hardly wait to see how he does there.
He's a great addition to Chihuahua. And from
Chihuahua.
the very first time I met him, he's just got a very, I hope you're listening, Brad, a very positive, happy energy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just when you get to encounter him, before I left town, even bumping into him on the street when he leaves, you just feel better.
Yes, you're right. And Anna Miller Reese and her family and those that she knows are making the dinner. She just came to us and said, we were going to do something a lot smaller. And she just came and said, we want to do your dinner and it's all paid for.
Wow.
So all the funds that are coming in for that dinner are going to Hands Across Nations work. Just,
Right.
it is, we have an incredible area here. So now I've forgotten what you asked me to tell you.
That's all right. Do you have anything in your head? Some of the maybe real something that just kind of sticks with you that was a really cool donation for the auction that you want to share?
Well, the local businesses, we didn't really go out too hard this year because we knew that the Chamber of Commerce was having their big one after a few years the week before, and we don't conflict with them at all. We're really supportive of each other, and I like that. So we tried to stay away from local ones, just mainly because we knew that they were going to be stretched with the other one. But Dawson Trucking usually gives some gravel, trucks of gravel. And this year they gave a large donation instead
wonderful.
because they said their business is so good that they can't
Oh.
they can't have more people wanting gravel right now. Let's see, Ponderay Shores from outside in Idaho gave us a whole week at their it's a
Resort.
beautiful place at their resort. Yeah, they are really wonderful. Every year they've done it for a long time. We have the Chihuahua Golf Course has given 18 holes of golf and a cart. I should have gotten this out for myself. Oh, here it is. PACA has given tickets for every show this year. The Spokane Indians have given tickets. The Spokane Chiefs, which are a baseball and hockey teams, and 49 Degrees North gave lift tickets. And that's about it for this year. But we have lots of baskets that have been made. And, here's one that is kind of new. We have teddy bears that are all different. We have 4 teddy bears of different fabrics that they've used. And they're from prisoners in Louisiana State Prison.
Oh, wow.
I have a friend who did a ministry there and taught them how to do quilting and making teddy bears, and they are going great guns. They did it last year for our silent auction, and they're doing it again. And they are excited about being a part of this and doing something
Awesome.
good for the world.
Good.
Yeah. And other people have donated items, too many to mention. But Helen Solapka and Cindy Sergio and others have made baskets that are, Linda Norris and a team from Abundant Life Fellowship have made baskets. And I'm sorry, I'm sure I'm forgetting many people, but this community has supported us extremely well. And we're grateful for that.
Now, one year when you came into the studio, you brought me the most beautiful woven basket that was actually made in Uganda.
Mhm.
And do you have some of those in the auction as well?
Lots.
All right.
Lots. We had
It was fabulous. And then just as a side note, I have cherished the hat you gave me. I love the hat you gave me that says Hands Across Nations and it has a hand on it. And it's somewhere in the house. I searched this morning for 20 minutes trying to find my hand hat so I could wear it for the interview and I couldn't find it. It's in here somewhere though.
Okay. Yeah. I was just thinking about something else that was in there. Oh, in the crafts, Debbie Barbie and some others are going to be selling crafts. Trish Miller and maybe some others. And we have beads and baskets and small animals made out of different colors. They're all different sizes animals, giraffes and elephants and all. And they're all made by people with HIV.
Oh.
So we really try to support those people. We buy them from them, they get the money right there. And then we sell them here. We go back and buy some more.
Yeah.
So they have an outlet because many people do not want to come up to
Right.
Lyra. There are many ministries that are down in Kampala, which is about 8 hours away from us by driving. And there are not very many ministries where we are right now. We have a few that most of them do education for the kids. Most of them don't consider literacy for adults worthwhile because they're old and they're going to be, not doing that. But they are the ones that are really, we call them the rebuilders, and God calls them the rebuilders, the old people, the destitute people.
Well, if you teach them, they can become teachers
They
as well.
do, and they teach their children and their grandchildren to read right there in their mud huts. It's incredible what they do. We didn't even imagine it, but they have done that. And so they really, truly are the rebuilders of their communities because everyone was in a camp by the time the war was over. And the war went on for 20 years. The person that translated the Bible with, we had 2 translators that translated the Bible in 5 years into their Lango language, an easy to read Lango language. He died last year. He was in his late 80s, but he lived long enough to do the whole thing. And absolutely incredible. So we've now printed that in our office, books at a time, and we've got all the New Testament. Oh, I didn't mention Connie Potter from Chihuahua went this year for a month. And she has been typing. She and Jean Homer, who was from Chihuahua, who was the junior high school principal, typed the entire Bible together. Then Connie went over to do editing, where you have to get all the spelling right, all that stuff, the punctuation, everything. And it has to go back and forth. We have a video from her because she can't make it to the benefit. Her father-in-law died in the burial of the memorial is that very day. So she couldn't come. So we videotaped her, and she did that for a month with those men. So the whole New Testament has been edited and will be printed. We've edited about 5 or 6 books, and we've printed those already. They're going there. But there's just so much going on, Scott, that we can hardly even tell the stories. We had to really we had to really stop ourselves from making more movies, and we hope people will be willing to see what their money has done. Really, it's
Excellent.
really
All right.
incredible.
And the only way to find that out is to attend the event this Saturday. Once again, doors open 4:30, buffet dinner from 5:30 to 6:30. Go look at the silent auction items and bid happily, and know that your money's going to support people in need, because it's one big planet and we got to help each other, right?
That's right.
You're right.
All right. Anything in closing that you want to get out there, Carolyn?
I just want to say thank you to Chewelah and the surrounding area of Stevens County. We are blessed to have the kind of people we have here, and I see them supporting PACA with all the arts, all the things in our Chamber of Commerce is just tremendous. We are very fortunate, and I'll tell you, Scott, 30 years ago, I moved here from Washington, D.C. I picked Chewelah out of the entire country to live here, and I've never been sorry.
Well,
great
you know,
place.
and I have a lot of regrets leaving. I'm happy to be with my kids and stuff, but it is a wonderful place, and I have yet to find one. I've lived all over the country. I haven't found one like it, and I'm always amazed at the amount of nonprofits we have in Chewelah, and including this radio station, and how they all get supported from the people that live here. It's pretty amazing. So maybe a round of applause for Chewelah.
For you, Scott, really, you started this. So
Yeah.
and we're really grateful to have your cohort here, Michelle.
Me too.
We're really glad she's here.
Glad to be here. I keep telling
right.
Scott he gave me the coolest job in town, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. And another round of applause for you and Keith and the hard work you do, and leaving your home and living in another country. That's all very challenging, and a country that isn't very easy to live in, too. So hats off to both of you.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Definitely.
Thank you very much. Once again, Carolyn Jones, her husband Keith Jones. Catch up with them this Saturday night. And don't forget, doors open at 4:30. Thank you, Carolyn.
You're very welcome, and thank you, Scott and Michelle.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll come back in a few minutes. We've got news. We've got to thank our sponsors, and then we'll come back and finish up today's show with a little odd news just for you. Stick around.
You're listening to 102.7 KCHW, Chewelah.
Your KCHW Morning Show, made possible by a donation from God-Fearing Brothers Auto Center. God-Fearing Brothers specializes in auto services, including repair, maintenance, and detailing. They also stock a full selection of tires, make glass repairs, offer towing, and have an auto sales lot on the corner of Highway 395 and Main Street at the light. For more information, you can visit the Auto Service Center at 806 East Main in Chewelah. Find them online at godfearingbrothers.com or by phone at 509-935-6414. KCHW FM thanks God-Fearing Brothers for supporting public radio in Stevens County.
The Public News Service Daily Newscast, October the 12th, 2022. I'm Mike Clifford. A new proposal to reduce gun violence in Portland would create a list of people who are likely to cause violence. But that plan has skeptics. More on that from Eric Tegedoff.
Known as the Violent Impact Player, or VIP list, the risk assessment program has been implemented in other cities, including Tampa, Florida. The list would score people based on 6 risk factors to predict the likelihood they'll offend again. The scored factors include probation or arrest in the past 3 years, gang affiliation, and the suspects in or victims of gun crime. Jay Amechi with the group Freedom to Thrive says the program works too far downstream.
To prevent gun violence, we really need to be looking at the causal issues. And so putting victims and perpetrators of gun violence on a list and following them around is too late. That's not going to fix the issues, which is the underlying societal issues.
Amechi says the other concern is that it resembles a gang task force database the Portland police kept until 2017, when the task force was disbanded over accusations of racial bias.
And when a 16-year-old freelance journalist saw military recruiters at her Texas high school gym on career day, she set out to learn more.
Ana Marzia lives in El Paso, one of America's poorest cities, where more than 80% of residents identify as Hispanic. Her reporting for Yes magazine led her to conclude the military uses economic hardship to lure young people of color to sign up.
They do tend to favor these groups because, in quote, they don't have any other option. So it's almost as if you're in this poor situation, but there's a way you can get out of it, and many do resort to the military.
Marzia says with Fort Bliss, a U.S. Army post headquartered in El Paso, it's easy for recruiters to travel to high schools in the area. I'm Roz Brown.
There are groups that work to counter military recruitment in public schools, including the National Network Opposing the Militarization of Youth. This story produced with original reporting from Ana Marzia for Yes Magazine. With the midterms fast approaching, she hopes voting-age students considering enlistment will do their research. And the New York Times reports President Zelensky asked the leaders of 7 major industrial nations for more modern and effective air defense systems Tuesday. That comes a day after Russia launched an intense aerial assault against civilian targets in his country. The Times reports the leaders pledged their undeterred and steadfast financial and military support. The G7 held an emergency meeting a day after Russian missile strikes killed at least 19 people across Ukraine. This is PNS. And with the holidays quickly approaching, the U.S. Postal Service is hiring 28,000 seasonal workers in the Keystone State and across the country. We have more now from Danielle Smith.
The Postal Service also plans to add 1,000 more truck drivers, letter carriers, and processing team members. Kimberly Miller, president of the Postal Workers Union Keystone Area Local, says the hiring blitz is necessary to keep up with demand. The USPS was also affected by the pandemic, and its workforce is logging massive hours. Miller adds the worker shortage means some post offices closing their windows early and delays in processing and delivering the mail on time.
I mean, we're struggling to maintain the hours, especially in the Harrisburg area. We had Carlisle Post Office last year that went weeks without delivery. And then so the union got involved and say, hey, look, this is an unsafe work condition. You need to clear the floor. You need to bring people in and get this mail to the customers.
And early voting starts today in Ohio. Advocates for the state's largest voting bloc say candidates should listen to their concerns.
Ohioans age 45 and older account for more than half of the state's voting population and tend to turn out in higher numbers. During a listening tour, AARP Ohio heard from thousands of people on the stress they feel about the future. Just 12% report strong confidence that they've saved enough to last throughout their retirement, and 89% describe Social Security as essential. State Director Holly Holtzen notes more than half reported delaying or ignoring health care due to cost.
They're really making some hard choices. One attendee at our listening session shared they skipped their colonoscopy for the past 3 years because they didn't know how they would pay for it. And this is a needed preventative procedure that can save lives.
Mary Sherman reporting.
Finally, Brett Pivoto tells us at least 1 in 10 people in Indiana is considered food insecure.
The federal goal is to end hunger by 2030, in part by making sure multiple government agencies work better together to improve food access and affordability and prioritize nutrition. Emily Weichert Bryant with Feeding Indiana's Hungry describes the national strategy as a whole-of-government approach that she predicts will allow individual needs to be targeted.
how do we ensure that agencies are working together to make sure that if you're on one federal program, you're also being sent information about federal nutrition programs, and vice versa. If you're on federal nutrition programs, are you able to access the other things that you might need for your household, whether it be childcare or transportation or things like that?
This is Mike Clifford. Thank you for starting your day with Public News Service, member and listener supported, on a great radio stations, your favorite podcast platform. Find our trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
And we're back. Wrap up the show a little bit. I got a few things to share, then we'll head for odd news. Michelle, will you grab that birthday calendar? And I'm so jealous because Michelle gets to be in the studio and she gets the hugs. I saw that hug. I get no hug, man.
I get air hugs.
All
air
right.
hugs, Scott.
Don't forget other events. We have the Chamber of Commerce meeting Friday morning, 7 o'clock. They do that at the casino. Chewelah Farmers Market also happening on Friday. It is the last one of the season. Get out and get those fall vegetables, the squashes, the zucchinis, and, of course, the pumpkins. And they will have pumpkin bowling on Friday as well, and that goes from 11 until 3:30. If you were with us for the first part of the show this morning, we got started a little late, but we had Carolyn Jones from Hands Across Nations. Their fundraiser and auction opens the doors at 4:30 at the Civic Center on Saturday. Get out and support them. Also, the Colville Animal Sanctuary having a mystery dinner in Colville. All right, so some things going on in the area. Birthdays with Michelle.
That's right. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, very good. I'm
All right.
in the middle of making all kinds of modifications here. All right.
Okay.
All right. So the only birthday I have on the calendar today is Jesse George. So
All right, Jesse.
I'm going to have to walk across the alley and go poke him in the eye or something.
Yeah. Say happy birthday. Where's my burger?
That's right.
And what about yesterday? Since we've totally forgot that we had you in the studio because you were gone for over a week there on the morning show. We weren't getting our local birthdays. Who had a birthday yesterday?
All right. So yesterday we had Kaylee Trampish.
All right, there you go. A couple birthdays, and I think we'll head toward the end of today's show with the fun stuff, and we like to call it Odd News.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go. We're burning daylight.
It's the world of strange. A world gone wacky.
Out here, due process is a bullet.
And some of the scariest people on the planet.
I think you're bluffing. Be afraid. You know, you look mighty pretty when you get mad.
It's your Odd News on KCHW.
Just sit back and enjoy the show.
Michelle, I don't know if you got to preview any of these stories, but after the news attack, which is always first, one sentence that's true, one sentence that's a joke. But after that, the wacky stories today are literally insane. So grab onto your chair. All right, first up, news attack. Michelle, you're up first.
All right. It was announced Tuesday that King Charles III will be crowned at Westminster Abbey on May 6th. Rihanna will perform during the halftime show.
All right. You know, I was strangely on the wrong day, so I hope I actually pulled up the right news today.
Well, hey, we didn't do it. Yes, did we do it yesterday?
No, but for some reason I had the ones up for the news attack for a Monday, and I just I got to do one of them because it was so funny. It said for his 70th birthday, Vladimir Putin got a tractor from the leader of Belarus. I hear the brand was International Harasser. But I'm pumped. No laugh, no nothing.
Of course it was.
Okay, sorry. Let's see. I also heard announced Tuesday King Charles III will be crowned at Westminster Abbey on May 6th. Only 2,000 people will be there to witness it. I can get one on Ticketmaster, right?
I believe so.
Okay.
All right. That's out of this world. And so is
it
this.
is, literally.
So is this. NASA said Tuesday its DART spacecraft was successful in changing the orbit of an asteroid on September 26th.
Really?
Oh, that's okay. And by successful, I hope NASA means the new orbit puts it on a direct path with Putin's house. Hitting Earth at all is not going to be good.
Wow. That study says if you exercise while angry, you face a threefold risk of suffering a heart attack. Wow. Wow. I feel red already. Good reason my gym needs to move Fox News from the TVs in the treadmill area.
Oh, my goodness.
They're going to kill me. All right.
Okay. Some people just can't handle a good joke.
That's right.
A doctor in Italy who was technically dead for 3 minutes from a heart attack says he visited heaven. He said it was like Disney World, but with shorter lines.
Wait, people have been acting those lines getting really short.
Oh, man. You know, my daughter's going over there for Christmas this year with her boyfriend. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
The latest fast food industry study shows that Taco Bell has the fastest drive-through service. The faster the service, the faster you can go back through the line the second time to have your order corrected.
Or park so you can go in and use the bathroom.
Yes.
Dunkin' fans are revolting after the chain updated its rewards program to what customers say is a much worse deal. In the new rewards program, when you buy 6 sprinkled donuts, you get a 7th free. But you have to provide your own sprinkles.
It's kind of dangerous. Who knows what they might sprinkle on there?
Oh, my goodness.
A crisis for Michelle at the radio station. The microwave broke, and now everybody's in the bathroom holding their bags of popcorn under the hand dryers.
That's going to take a long time because they're paper towels.
That is. All right. In my mistake this morning, Michelle, I'm going to cause you a problem.
Oh, great.
Because I actually grabbed all the sound effects for the 10th of October, and the stories are really good. So we're going to go do the stories from the 10th of October.
I get it. It's not that much of a problem.
It's not that much of a problem?
Nah.
That's what she says now.
Oh, what do you
all
have
right.
me, what do you have
You
me
want me-
reading?
Go ahead.
What do you have me reading?
Wacky but true. Are you ready? First one, a man in England.
I'm ready.
Okay, go.
A man in England has been tormented by a stranger screaming porridge through his door's mail slot. The man says the mystery neighbor has been shouting strange things about porridge through his mail slot at odd hours in the middle of the night in Boothtown, Halifax, for the past 3 weeks. The man is at his wit's end and is pleading with the porridge whisperer to stop immediately. The man took to social media with the appeal, telling the stranger to grow up. That's fantastic.
I do the same thing to my neighbors here, but I do this. I open up the mail slot.
Loud noises!
All right. Next up, this one's fun. They say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But even then, some events are just too bizarre to stay within the confines of Sin City. Like when a camel walked up to an eatery, presumably to get a piping hot order of French fries. Mm-hmm. The video of the animal walking straight to the drive-thru along with its handler and patiently waiting for food has gone viral. You can see this online. It's true. Video shows staff at the restaurant laughing out loud after spotting the unusual customer. The camel is seen peeking into the restaurant, actually putting its head inside the drive-thru window. Is that sanitary?
No, they spit.
Animal handler said the camel is a rescue from Colorado and that now lives in a sanctuary in Las Vegas area and loves to eat French fries. So that made me ponder, what kind of things might a camel say at a drive-thru window?
Please, I'm just a desperate guy trying to feed his family.
You don't have a family.
I'm in a family of one.
Or perhaps,
feed me if you dare.
Because they spit, right?
Yeah, they do.
And last one.
Where's the food? Is there any food left? I'm really hungry, so is there any food left in here, huh?
That's my
That's
favorite.
probably actually what he said.
That's my favorite one.
Yes. Save the best for last.
That's right.
All right, man on the back of a semi.
In Oklahoma, a number of 911 calls came in about a man on a semi-trailer. It all started in Wichita, Kansas, when investigators say 30-year-old Dustin Slocum hopped on the back of a back rail of a semi-truck as it was leaving a shipping yard. He held on for 130 miles, nearly 2 hours, and ended up in Guthrie, Oklahoma, around 2:30 in the morning. Troopers in Oklahoma arrested Slocum for public intoxication and joyriding. Woo!
Is that a crime?
Unfortunately, it must be, because he got arrested.
Went down like this.
I feel happy. I feel happy.
Yeah, it's a free ride, baby.
Hello world, hear the song that we're singing. Come on, get happy.
It's just one way to beat the high price of gasoline.
Hey, smart.
Ride on the back of a semi.
Maybe he
All right.
wouldn't have been in so much trouble if he wasn't intoxicated.
Maybe. All right, in Ohio, Brook Park, to be exact, 2 workers fought each other with grass trimmers in a cemetery. At least yeah, exactly, Michelle. At least they're close in case one of them dies from an injury.
To the cemetery.
Workers, 42-year-old and a 25-year-old were trimming grass around headstones. Younger man walked past the older man while carrying a trimmer that was running. Older man warned the younger man to be careful with the trimmer, saying he could have cut him with it. 2 workers started arguing. Younger worker threw the trimmer at the older man, who was hit in the forehead with the trimmer's engine. He suffered a lump on his head and was treated and released by paramedics at the cemetery. The younger man said the older man wielded his trimmer at him first, and that he, the younger man, lifted his trimmer in self-defense. He said the 2 engaged in a sword fight with their grass trimmers before he finally threw his trimmer at the older man, hitting him in the head. A 3rd worker verified this. He said, trimming around the headstones, he witnessed the trimmer's sword fight. He thought the 2 men were just horsing around and promptly went back to work. I got some for this, too.
Of course, this means war.
Yeah. There's something strange about it. It makes me want to, do this. Yeah. Uh-huh. Going to the cemetery later.
Cry havoc, and let's slip the dogs of war.
Yeah.
Oh.
Told you they were good.
All right. That's pretty good. I mean, jousting with power tools. You can't get much better than that.
Oh, it makes me happy.
All right, let's see what's going on over here. People accidentally growing huge pot plants. An elderly couple in England picked up a new plant at a flea market and lovingly tended it as it grew into a lush plant in the garden. That's when it drew the attention of police. Turns out the elderly couple had purchased a marijuana plant. Police seized the pot plant and didn't press charges.
Oh man!
They don't have weed in England. That old man didn't know what that smell was.
Wow. Here's what he had to say, though.
Oh, leave me alone. I'm 100 years old. I'm done.
Don't be an Adolf Hitler.
That's right.
All right, last one. It's a long one, too. Bear with me. A Chicago area property owner has been blasting loud, vulgar music over the last few weeks in an attempt to push a school district to get rid of musical instruments on a local playground. In 2020, Prairie Elementary School's playground was replaced by an interactive playground. Playground has elements that allow children to play musical instruments. You've seen those things where they they pound on the tubes, and it makes a song and all that kind of stuff.
I like to play with those.
I do too. Playground is adjacent to some private property. The property owner expressed concerns regarding the noise of the musical instruments, stating that the noise was interfering with their quality of life. Oh, man, can't have that at all. Over the last 2 years, property owner tried to convince the district to remove the instruments, but was unsuccessful. So over the last few weeks, property owner has began playing loud music in an attempt to get the district to remove the instruments from the playground. Now, the music has included songs with vulgar content and language that is not suitable for children. Free speech, though. Over the past week, the district removed musical instruments except for a bell. Police have been called to the area on numerous occasions over the past few weeks for noise complaints. Each time, police tested the noise level to determine if the noise coming from the man's property was in excess of what is allowed by village code, and each time it was tested, the noise registered within the code limits. Police say they are mediating the dispute. Oh, all for the kids.
Freedom of speech, maybe, but he's still a jerk.
That's right. And here's his big problem.
From an early age, my parents discouraged loud noises.
All right. That is your odd news for what's today, Michelle?
Wednesday, October 12th.
The funny thing is she had to think about it.
I had to look at the computer to make sure I was going to say the right number because the other one says the 10th. You got me all messed up.
Uh-huh. And that's why we need your help, too. Keep on listening to Northern Lights Public Radio, KCHW 102.7. Say goodbye, Michelle.
Goodbye, Michelle.
Not so fast. Public news team is taking a break from its pledge drive. No commercials. No mercy.
Have a great day. Hey.
Holla.
All right. So will you, if we're all muted, will you go to the email?
Yeah.
Close that window. That's autoplay. That's all good.
I gotta shut down the streams.